Welcome back everyone. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on an upcoming video. Hit the bell icon next to it. Today we changed out a fuel pump on a 1995 Toyota 4Runner. Now stick around and I'll show you how I did it. The truck right now, dropping the fuel tank. Haven't done this before on this vehicle. Done it a few times on others, but first time on a second gen 4Runner. And I looked into it a little bit, but from what I can tell, there wasn't much of any information really on there besides cut a hole in the floor. And I don't really want to cut a hole in the floor, at least just not yet. I had an idea, I might do it a little bit later today, but I'll see when I get it out, and who knows, I might end up cutting a hole in the floor. But anyways, got a little head start on it. Already got the skid plate off. It's only a few bolts. 3 there and 2 in the back. And the tank is held in by 6 bolts. I'll figure out what I'm going to do with the camera here. They're kind of tucked up behind these little notches. Now, there is a drain plug. But I didn't bother because I don't feel like going to get a new gasket or whatever might be on it. I got a jack. I'm only coming down a little bit. I'll figure it out. As far as what's going on up top, don't really know what exactly is going to happen there. Obviously you got these 2 lines. There's 3 more lines coming in the front. The wire's got to come from somewhere. I can't really see up there, so I'm going to start dropping a little bit and see what happens. So I don't really have a safe spot for the camera to sit, and so you don't get to see the fun of me making a big mess and potentially a gasoline spill. There's got freaking vines everywhere. Well, found out what I'm missing. The sending a filler neck. Kind of hung up on that. At least I have a little bit more of a gap. I can see what's going on. Electrical connectors in the back half. Thought it would be in the front. Those 2 hoses, and is that? Oh, that looks like fun. Focus, you frick. Hey, you can't see it because it won't focus. There's a threaded fitting. This will be fun. So in the wheel well, passenger side or driver side if you're right-hand drive, little access panel. You got 4 10mm bolts. And if yours is anything like mine, careful, there is a lot of dirt on top of this panel. Behind that, find some spider webs, a lot of dirt, and 2 factory 10mm bolt hose clamps. So that's kind of handy. Instead of having it's a metric hose clamp. That's just awesome. These hoses are old. I mean, 20. Gosh, brain fart, can't do math. Anyways, they're old. So once the hose clamps come off, remember, try to be easy on the hoses because it kind of sucked to have to go get new hoses for the fuel tank and not be able to drive it if that's your own vehicle. But oh. Alright, before you take the hoses off, it's a good idea, get yourself a little brush, go through, clean up everything. So once you get the stuff off, again, it's probably a good idea not to get a bunch of dirt down into the tank after you have it out. So clean it up, does yourself a favor, you can see what you're doing, keeps everything clean. Now break these hoses free. The big one, stuck a flathead screwdriver in there and then just worked its way around a couple times. Kind of hard to do because there's this little shield. So once you get it to come loose a little bit, it kind of frees itself the rest of the way up. Small hose, grabbed out some channel locks, just moved it back and forth, break it free, and took them and set them on top. My grip is tight, but it's not on the pipe, and it's not pinching the hose. That way, I just push down on it and it pops it off. Keeps the hoses in good shape. And we're in. Joints right there. It's just 3 Phillips head screws. I got going to need a 19 and a 14 millimeter. Now, it's probably under pressure. There's the high pressure side. Stick a couple rags down there to catch any fuel, and it might be draining a little while because remember, this is downhill from the engine. So 18, 14, and there you go. Delicious. In the middle of editing, I discovered I lost some footage. Don't know where it went, but I lost it. But it's kind of a little bit of an important bit, so I'm filling it in now. The hose on the filler neck, that comes off, but it still jams up on the fitting on the tank. So once the tank's down a little bit, where that hose can come down, you gotta loosen those hose clamps up and finagle it off the tank, because the hose doesn't really want to fish its way through the body in the tank, especially since there's a little steel chafe guard bracket there. If you have a body lift, you could probably get away with it. I couldn't. I had to stop what I'm doing and take those hoses off the tank. And at this point, it's probably a good idea to make sure you don't have more than a half a tank, because when that back end goes back, you get a nice little slosh of fuel. Fortunately, I had enough where it's still heavy, but not enough to make a mess. But that's what ended up happening. Have to take those hoses off. The back end drops, comes out off the front, and gets lowered by the jack. It looks like metal in there. Little pliers all the way in the middle. Oh, making a mess. Alrighty, got the new one. Alrighty, so side-by-side comparison of new versus old. That's obviously the new one's a little bit bigger. The plug looks to be almost the same. Actually, we'll find out in a second here. This plug will fit on the old one. So there. It is the same. That's handy. New plug does fit the new pump and the old pump, so that's kind of now became a no-brainer, and it's going bye-bye. Alrighty, let's see. I'm gonna try on this piece of rubber. It doesn't quite match. It matches on here. Alright, so took a little bit of a look at the little rubber piece. Still a little gap on the side. Should flow okay. And everything's crimped together. If it's new and the old, best of both worlds. Done. Put her back in. Before we put the cover back on, check for leaks first. And this new pump, bit of a high-pitched whine. A little annoying, but I mean, you can even hear the fuel flowing right now. Found another leak. I'm backing away. I'm a little gun shy. I've already had this thing pop in my face twice. Always, thank you for watching. If you didn't hit that subscribe button yet, please do it now. Like, comment, tell me if you have any suggestions. Still kind of new to this stuff, so I could use a suggestion or two. But I'm figuring out, learning as I go. And see you next week.